Hello. Hi. This is a podcast. We don't know what it is, where it comes from, or where it's going to go, but this is a podcast. With me today, I have four of my friends, and we're going to start by giving some names. We're going to name ourselves. We're going to give ourselves a little fact, whether it be true, false, something you made up on the fly, or a car that you saw today. I just want something that exists within your life. So I am Sully, or the Milkman, and I spilt water on my piano the other day, and I'm having trouble with two of the keys playing at the same time because it's an electric keyboard, and I'm probably going to have to dig into the keys to clean that up and get that to stop happening.
Hey, I'm Isaac. On the way home from work today, I got passed by a C8 Corvette. That was pretty cool. It was a nice and red one, too.
All right, Isaac, thank you. Garrett,
Oh, I'm next.
what the
Hi.
fuck is up?
The, the fucking sky, brother. I'm Garrett, and I'm a necromancer wizard.
Landon,
Hi, I'm Landon. My lady took a trip with one of her friends down to Texas today. She's not going to get back till midnight, but she's got goodies for me, and I'm looking forward to it, like the little autistic kid I am.
I don't believe goodies come from Texas.
Kinokuniya, if you know that. It's a Japanese store down there. Got some really neat stuff. She's also got some melon soda. Ooh, that stuff's so good. I'm excited.
Caden,
Hello. Uh, my sister was given a free cantaloupe today
dude,
while she was at work for giving some people some water. I cannot eat cantaloupe. I'm allergic to all melons.
my grandma
quite
cut
sad.
up some cantaloupe the other day.
Man, this cantaloupe isn't even ripe. Like I smelled it and
The
went, "Oh,
introduction.
that needs to set out a little, just a little bit longer, like maybe a couple days." But she did get it like fresh off of like a market cart that was in front of Pizza Hut.
Like one of those
That's magical.
trailers that somebody hauls where they just bring in their fruit
Yeah.
for the city to enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, like they had corn, some other shit.
We had the typical watermelon trailer guy in town the other day next to the funeral home. All right,
Always there.
we all know who we are now. If you couldn't keep up with that, that's because we all sound the same. Sorry about you. We do have a very important point of topic today. The most important point of topic for this whole podcast, and that would be naming the podcast. We need a name. And I am dying to hear the ideas you guys have come up with. So, anybody got any ideas?
Let you down, brother. I haven't come
Should
up
I-
with.
Should I have been doing homework?
No, no.
I was also unaware of homework.
Well, we talked about naming it for a while now,
Yeah.
and obviously the name or the what it is
the
cannot
group.
stick. So
No. I vote that we don't even bring up what the group was called.
that's
I mean,
fine.
you just brought
I'm
it
okay
up.
with that. No, I mean
No,
it's
no,
called
no, no.
podcast, but that's as much as anybody needs to know.
Yeah, we don't need to.
Yeah.
Upon
We-
further
What do
reflection.
you need to know about that?
We in it know what we are speaking of.
I was
Anywho.
thinking. So I actually did think because we were talking when we did
You've
all the
had a
voice
thought.
checks and stuff. I know, right? But when you did all the voice checks and stuff, you said it was like good enough, and my first thought, oh, the Good Enough podcast, like really fucking phoned in name. But like that's the only legit thing that I've come up with this thus far.
I mean, to be fair, it's not bad. Although, do you think you're good enough?
I don't have enough booze for that
Next
question.
topic of the podcast. Do you think you're good enough?
That podcast already exists. That name is taken.
The Good Enough podcast.
Listen, I'm already upset.
exists.
Yes.
that I completely forgot my hard cider on my way home from the store today. I'm just sad.
I have a shot of pirate rum in this mug root beer. And it sounds weird at first, but I'm telling you,
No, that sounds
it's
really
delicious.
good.
I'm over at your house. If you have some of that, you're gonna have to let me try it.
I probably won't. By the time you get to my house, I'm gonna be honest.
I need to come over ASAP and try it
Like,
then.
what if we did something like 3-star podcast or something like that?
3-star? Where's that come from?
I was just looking at a set of 3-spokes wheels on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like
Three-star.
3-star out of 5.
You like the Michelin
mean-
star rating system?
Well, I mean, it would line up and could go either way, but I was looking at the wheels that are now in my kitchen, by the way. I've had to relocate them to fix my AC. But I was looking at my 3-spokes in my kitchen, and then I was looking at some 3-spokes on Marketplace, and I was like, what about 3-spoke? And I was like, no, but 3-star. 3-star sounds like a good podcast.
3 stars. 3 stars with an S podcast is a thing.
Listen, I don't look at anything under a 4-star, so
We're gonna have to try again. I find another one that already exists.
You guys got to start fucking batting here, man. I'm the only one out here.
It's true. Oh,
I
hey,
am-
Hey, listen,
side tangent, by the way. The Michelin star rating system that rates fancy
completely
restaurants
paid
and
for.
shit.
That make the tires, right?
Yeah, same company. Tire company.
Yeah.
Same company.
So,
They
good
did
tires,
it
by the
to,
way.
hand out to people while they sold tires. Just as like a tourism thing, I think.
All right, so the 3 stars podcast already exists.
Yeah, and 3-star would be, I think, too damn close to that.
Road closed, or do some sort of traffic sign kind of based podcast.
People are gonna think we're a car podcast.
Kitchen.
Slow your
Well-
roll.
Listen, cars are gonna be brought up quite often. Let's be real.
Yeah,
Oh, you know what? I think we might be able to do the biggest throwback of most of our lives, some of us who weren't even involved in this. In fact, most of you weren't involved in this for the early years that it exists. Or
I think I know
existed.
what you're gonna say.
I think you do too. I have to look it up to
gonna
make
say it?
sure. There is a podcast that exists that is called this, but there's only 2 episodes from March 2020. One of them's 3 minutes long, and the other one is a 22-second trailer. So we're pretty in the clear on Spotify's end. Back in the early days of me, Taylor, and Byron playing games, Vanguard, our now clan, was once known as Late Night, Early Morning. And I feel like that is a pretty damn good name.
It is a
Considering
podcast
we
on
record
Spotify.
from 11 to 12, I feel like that's pretty suiting.
See, I mean, I vibe with it, but then there is the issue that arises that out of the original LNEM crew, there's only one of you in this podcast.
Yeah, well, we're all in Vanguard now, though. It evolved. It's just not called that anymore.
Right, but if we're I don't know. Like I said, I vibe with it, but
It's a good
it
throwback.
feels
That is a pretty good name.
It could make it difficult to get put on Spotify because that exists as a name.
I don't
How
think it'll
about
be
with
difficult because I could name myself Slipknot and have a podcast called Slipknot, and as long as it's really dependent on trademark, but also trademarks exist within specific areas. So if I were to name a car brand Chevy, right? It's a car brand. Chevy is obviously a car brand, but if I were to name a podcast or something Chevy, and Chevy themselves didn't have a podcast, I could trademark Chevy the podcast, and it would be different because it's in different form factor. Mine is in trademarked entertainment, and the other one is trademarked.
On
But this is same name,
So-
same platform, even.
So on YouTube, there's also a late night, early morning podcast. 3 subscribers, 3 videos, each video being about an hour long from a year ago. Granted, they don't have much, or they don't really have any traction. But
that's still, it could become a conflict of interest, especially if this
Yeah.
does by some miracle end up getting huge. We could be sued for rights pretty easily.
Can you find any big studio or anything that's backing any of these podcasts?
I have no clue who these people are.
Ives Audio presents late nights and early mornings. DJ Butt Naked on iHeart.
DJ Butt Naked.
iHeart is a pretty big company.
I was
All right.
gonna say End of the Line, but there's definitely a podcast that's named that. There's multiple.
Oh man, we're running into the difficulty of being original.
What an era to be in when literally nothing's original.
Oh my god, we could call it the original podcast. Somebody look that shit up right now.
Okay.
I
I'm on it.
guarantee you that's a thing.
The original podcast. Also,
I'm moving
Yes,
around 'cause I have to
4.4
swap my
thousand
batteries.
followers on YouTube.
Yeah.
and they're active. Fuck.
What about the unoriginal podcast? I don't know.
Yep.
Start a
It's on
band called the
SoundCloud
Copyrights.
270 plus followers. And it's also on Spotify.
Guys, we're too late in the entertainment market. All the names are taken. We're done.
Well, yep, that's it. We gotta wrap it up. Press end on record. That's it. We're done. See ya. Everyone have a good night.
What happened?
It was worth it. This guy wasn't even listening.
No, I swapping my batteries. I'm swapping my batteries.
We hit record and he's just off. He leaves.
Man didn't even swap his batteries before coming in to record.
I didn't know my batteries were low before I came in to record. These are not charging all the way.
We are professionals.
Fucking
You gotta check
rechargeable
that.
batteries that have been on my shit
We
for
are
2
novice
days, they're not charged all the way.
professionals.
And it can't be what it is now because that ain't gonna work. That's gonna backfire.
We will be the bumbling
so
buffoons.
hard. Bumbling buffoon.
We're gonna hit a
I
point.
like the road closed one, but you guys kind of was like, yeah, that's all right, and then moved on.
Is that a thing? Hold up.
I don't know. Let me check.
I got Google still open.
Is it a thing on Spotify?
Books closed.
Closed traffic. That's a podcast.
What about the Hard Stop podcast?
Hard stop. That's a thing.
Ooh, what about Breaking Point?
No, Breaking Point is a podcast. That's a political one.
Damn it.
Road Closed podcast doesn't look to be a
one
podcast, at
seems
least. I think we should do Road Closed.
And what significance does this name have?
I'm just looking at the sign in my kitchen.
That is probably the absolute best scenario I could find for naming a podcast.
That is.
Listen, you guys
So
come up with a
significant.
better available idea.
No. I mean, that's not bad at all. That's like #1 contender right now.
Listen, man, I can't do names.
Bro, you can't do shit.
I can turn that name into something that looks cool.
You probably
That alone,
could.
I've got some ideas for a logo and some graphics.
Oh,
I
well,
can't
while we're
make the
sitting
names.
here, I would like to bring up something, as you guys know, for the
Whoever's
last few
phone
days.
is-
My AC is fixed, boys. I'm sitting in an air-conditioned apartment, finally.
So proud of you.
I know. I'm so excited. It was. I don't even remember
What
what
about
they
the
said
late
it
night
was.
idiots?
Late Night Idiots podcast. Does it exist?
I don't think so.
Seems a little on the nose. Brilliant idiots. That's a thing.
What
But-
about Idiots of the Night? You know, like a play on Ladies of the Night, but like Idiots of the Night. You know?
Cards of the night.
No, I
I
can't
have
do that.
no idea what you're referencing.
You don't know what a Lady of the Night is?
It's
No.
another word for prostitute.
Oh,
Lady of the
oh.
Night is a prostitute.
Okay. I got you. Okay. Enough said.
Idiots
That's
of the
not a
Night.
thing.
That's Idiots of the Night's not a thing. I mean, I think that's a pretty decent one.
I'm trying to tack on some sort of funny one-liner.
I mean,
Definitely.
everybody who
Title.
knows what a Lady of the Night is, that one and go, now wait a
You know what? I'm pretty with the idea of Road Closed, the Road Closed podcast, and then the banner text could be like, you don't come here to get anywhere or something like that.
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
You won't get anywhere by
I-
coming here.
I think it's best to have a name that's just 2 to 3 words.
Agreed.
Nothing beyond
Like,
this point.
2 words that are. It's easy to remember.
Yeah, Road Closed.
Easy to read.
I think I kind of hit the hammer on the nail there.
Road
That was
Closed,
pretty
there is
good,
no
yeah.
future here.
There's nothing past this point. Nothing beyond this point.
Okay, all in favor of Road
Self-degradation.
Closed, the podcast?
I.
Aye.
That is majority
That's-
vote.
See, this is what we need Logan here for, because he would have been fucking on fire with the names.
He would have
Yeah.
been. Well, we'll give
I
him a
had
chance
someone
to come up with a
bothering me,
better
but I
name.
now have a bottle of Disaronno in my room.
Nice. Are you
Good.
opposed to the name Road Closed?
No, that's fine.
Right.
I'm
It's
not so
official.
excited about
the
it.
Road Closed Podcast. That is our name. We have a podcast name now, and it only took 20 minutes.
Podcast name, boy.
And it only took the first 20 minutes.
Okay.
The fucking session.
The Road Closed Podcast. Each and every one of
You
us
get here to go nowhere.
finally ended up on the final road of our lives. This is it. We die after this podcast. But
Incredibly far more depressing than I thought it would be.
before we all end miserably, what brought us to this point? I want to know individually what brought us to finally be like, hey, it's podcast time. Let's do something instead of being lazy all the time and gaming with our friends instead of being successful.
Also, real tight side tangent. It's Unus Annus. This podcast ends, we all just kill ourselves. There we go.
I don't think
No.
they did that.
No,
for
no,
that
no,
one. I'm gonna be
no,
honest.
no.
Unus Annus is a twist. That was the thought I had.
No.
No, because we don't have a deadline. We just end when we decide we're done.
So I will say, and to harken back to like what you just asked, what brought us here, I think it was less of a we got bored of being lazy or whatever, and more of a hey, we have fire ass conversations that are fucking hilarious. We should monetize this shit so none of us are living in apartments for the rest of our lives.
Well, so
I mean, I have a
understand
mortgage.
the form factor here where we're like, yeah, we want it to be funny online for random people who will never meet. But I want to know what brought you as a person to want to be an entertainer. Like, I do streaming, Caden does streaming. I want to know what brought you to wanting to bring a light to random people you've never known.
I just
Honestly,
like
I wanted to do the podcast to also help me with my streaming because this is going to help me talk more to the public. And that is what I need the most help with.
I think the biggest thing for me, if we're talking about that, right, is that I just feel and I have felt like for the longest time that I've been put on this earth to entertain, so to speak. You know, I write music. I literally wrote down like 6 different lyrics today. I write music. I write books. I make art.
Lyric.
Yeah, well, 6 different sets of lyrics, I guess.
No, just 6 words.
Just exclusively 6 words. I think it was more like 16, but yeah.
I don't know if that makes that much better.
Listen,
That's more than what you're
I can
doing.
go through. Yeah, how many lyrics did you write today?
I don't know. I got really high this morning. I could have wrote some and then never remembered them ever again.
9, 10, 11, 12. I'm not going to count all of those. There's way more than 16 there because there was 12 in the first line alone. Anyway, I just like the idea of entertaining. I feel that I have qualities that could make somebody else's, day better in one way or another. So and I want to exploit that and make a fuck ton of money off of it.
Me
We're
working in a
born to
haunted
squeeze
house.
money out of people.
No, born
Me-
to make people happy and get money as a result.
Me working in a haunted house is really truly what made me want to start entertaining the public because I was already an extrovert. Like through school, I was always talking to a lot of people until COVID. COVID completely killed that shit for me. I do not know what happened. But yeah, that was it. I was just thinking about the answer to the actual question.
I'm gonna be honest. You guys said being lazy, getting off your ass to do something. I went to college and now work a full-time job for what I went to college for. But you guys said you wanted to do a podcast, and hell, I'm down to clown. And then I justified it to myself later by saying, hey, this might help talk more and maybe I can get rid of this damn... I feel like I don't speak as well as I'd like to.
You've spoken more than somebody in this podcast so far.
Because
Hey.
I've got what the Lord likes to refer to as liquid courage.
I thought you were about to say the Lorax.
What the
The
That's what the
Lorax.
Lorax likes to refer to as.
I'm sure the Lorax would love some liquid courage.
Courage.
That right there, courage.
Courage.
Who knows?
Liquid
I
courage.
hate my R's. My tongue is fucking gigantic. It makes speaking so difficult.
What about you, Isaac? What convinced you to start a podcast?
Well, I've tried this in the past. Didn't work out very well, but of course that was entirely my fault. So I'm ready to try again. I feel like we have something that could actually get up and going.
Now that you have
Keep
a bunch of
going.
other people carrying you.
Yeah. And in bands, I'm used to entertaining people there. And this will probably help me speak in public because I don't do that ever. So, yeah.
Hell yeah, it will. Wait, you went to
I-
NYLT. You've taken whole courses on talking to people.
Sure have. Still don't do it, though. People are
Understandable.
weird.
It is confirmed none of us can talk.
Oh, speaking of the whole, music thing, music side of my entertainment prowess, I was
Prowess?
practicing prowess. Yeah, I was practicing my way home, and I can't do it now because it's just not the time. But like, I was getting it.
Doing vocals.
Yeah. Like the screamy shit. Like I was getting it.
You know, I've done a lot more of that recently, and I think I'm getting a good handle on it, but I still can't really project it very loud.
I've gotten a lot better at controlling not just the volume but also the tone. My issue is just that because like I can get like a really kind of guttural scream out, and I can get like a really like a mid to higher pitch scream out as well. And so I can kind of hit most of the vocal range of like your basic metal scream, but the issue is just holding it. I can't do it for extended periods of time without like hurting myself. So
It
that's
almost
what I'm
feels-
working on right now.
To me, what you're talking about with holding it too long feels like you're squeezing too hard. Like if you tighten your hand into a fist and you squeeze that fist really hard, at first it's not that bad, but if you keep doing it, it starts getting worse. I know exactly
Yeah,
what
that's
you're talking about.
it's stuff like that. Yeah, it's and it just kind of makes a sore throat in the end if you push it too much. But no, I mean, so I was practicing that on the way home, and I'm not gonna lie, I was like patting my halfway through. I was like, damn, this is some fire shit. Like, can't do
So,
it. So
one of
Yeah.
us is a natural born entertainer who
That's
wants
me.
to squeeze the money out of everybody he can.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
Two of us just want to put ourselves out there because fun. One of us hopped on the bandwagon, and the other one is a failed returnee.
Magical.
Sure.
I think we're going to make a very good group of idiots.
I think the more comfortable we get with each other, the more this shit's gonna flow like butter.
Oh, 100%. Especially
think-
once we start getting a better grasp of
Yeah.
what we're doing.
Yeah, when
Being
we
in a
have some
semi-professional
straightforward-
setting is just kind of like meh. But I think we'll learn to get like really flow with it.
Yeah, and it's like I brought up before we actually started recording. This is our first time doing this. We are not. We got a lot to learn, and I mean a lot.
Oh, for sure.
I was streaming from my Xbox. I'm
Literally?
on my Xbox.
I am also on my Xbox.
10 minutes before this, before I actually pulled you all into this call, I had to reteach myself how to link my audio box sound through my OBS. I had to completely
YouTube crash
reset
course,
that up.
let's go.
Oh,
Thank God I've done
so
it before, because it would have been way harder to do if I hadn't.
check this out. I'm not sure what it was, but on the way to work today, just before one of the bridges that I have to pass over to get to work, my normal route, there were two cops on the side of the road, but there was no car pulled over. And so I look off down in the ditch, and there's a bunch of trees and foliage and shit down there. But also in the middle of those trees and foliage is a fucking like Dakota, like an old, or not Dakota, but like an old Dodge Grand Caravan, like a first gen, just sitting there. And I was like, holy shit, somebody got fucking murdered in that thing, and they just abandoned it on the side of the road. But I haven't seen any news about a murder in or near, so I don't think that's the case.
Garrett just doxed himself at least.
No,
Good job,
he must say
stupid.
himself.
I didn't say where, and
that doesn't matter. Stop talking.
It doesn't
That is-
matter.
That is already
enough.
close enough to.
Hardcore. Stop talking.
Okay, you guys all know Markiplier lives in LA.
Yeah, but
Yes,
LA
he
is
has millions of fans.
very different from. How big is LA?
It's pretty
He's
And
also
how big is
constantly
Florida?
traveling.
Listen,
the fact
either
of the
way,
matter.
we like to not dox ourselves. We're not popular enough for that. Plus, we can
It's
piss
right.
the wrong people off. Markiplier can't piss people off. Have you? What? He's literally unhateable.
He is the nicest guy.
So,
I'm
Yeah,
ready
Jack.
for his movie.
I have two topics. One
Sean.
that I have myself, and one that Garrett brought to the table before, which I'd love for anybody to bring their own topics whenever they want. Just send it to the chat, and we'll get things sorted beforehand.
I do have some more topics.
Well, right now I have two topics.
Yeah.
Two topics. I'll bring Garrett's topic to the table first. Actually, you know what? No. Mine might be a little less interesting and captivating, so I'm going to bring mine first, and then we'll do Garrett's afterwards. Because I feel like we could get pretty deep into Garrett's if we really want to. As all of you here know, I am going to be a father soon.
Yeah!
The
Yeah.
mini milk will exist, and that's spooky.
So exciting.
That's crazy stuff. I'm very excited. But,
It's fucking wild to think about too.
yeah, I don't
You're the youngest, bro.
when I think about it outside of, like, for me, it feels normal now. Like, I know all the things. It's just part of life now.
You do not know all of the things,
Oh,
not
okay.
yet.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, it doesn't
You know what he
feel
means,
like
though.
new news.
Yeah.
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 But whenever everybody else talks about it, they're like, "Holy shit, he's having a kid!"
I was talking to my mom about that the other day, and she was just like, and I was like, because I was asking if she was gonna come to your baby shower, and I was like, it's a weird thing to say, isn't it? And we were just like, yeah, that's odd. It's great, but it's odd.
It's funny that you bring your mom up because I was actually thinking about Grandpa and Mimi. I was like, man, they would have
Oh, yeah.
loved to see it.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
Grandpa
Goodness.
would have killed to see that. My topic for today, you brought up the gender reveal and baby shower, and we had an idea for the gender reveal, but we can't do it because I can't get the things to come in on time. It would take too long to ship.
Is the thing that I was talking about.
I want you guys to captivate me with some of the best gender reveal ideas that you can.
Off the top
Listen,
of my head, I got a fucking
right now,
great one.
You, buddy, listen, being a decent car person, you gotta do a burnout.
Yes, you can get some colored tires and stuff, but like that's basic. That's boring. No, what you need to do is head over to the Air Force Base here and in
This
and
is
around
already
Tulsa.
so extreme.
What you need to do is you need to see if you can rent an A10 Warthog to fire pink or blue colored blanks at your house.
I'll be honest with you. I'm
don't
pretty
think the
sure those
government will
don't
agree.
fly anymore. I'm like 90% sure we don't use those anymore.
Yeah, we do.
We
Mr.
retired
Military
them,
Man
or
coming
I
in
think we
here.
began to retire them earlier this year, but I don't think they're fully like out of commission yet.
I'm 90% sure they were retired, like super
Hold on.
recently.
I'll look it up because yeah, I think I did see something about them being retired, but
Also, we're not in a war, so we don't use them.
July 24th, 2024, the USAF has paused further retirements of the A-10 Warthog. So no, the retirement was approved in 2023, but Air Force has halted the retirement. So they are not fully retired. They are still
Regardless,
active to a degree.
I'm sure out of the couple of hundred that do exist, does not have one. And
Oh, I've seen
also,
them flying over.
give me some ideas. Captivate.
So, listen. I'm pretty sure Jay's dad has some C4 lying around somewhere.
I need ideas that are legal.
Listen,
Anything's
so
legal if you don't get
it's
caught.
still. Hey,
It's in my mom's
You're-
backyard.
Don't say it's fireworks.
Hey,
listen,
we can
you
take
are
it to the
still
farm.
Go ahead,
you're
Caleb.
still at the end of summer. You can get some like water guns and do colored water.
Yeah,
and, like-
there's gonna be a lot of adults
like
there
you-
that probably don't want to get wet though.
Well, no, that's fine because we will shoot you who are in a white shirt.
I was thinking you can get like a t-shirt cannon and just load it with colored powder. Just absolutely. And then
You gotta
shoot it
smoke
at
someone in the face.
Yeah. Just make their entire body the color.
This is horrible, but do you know how funny it would be to powder cannon Kate to reveal the baby?
Absolutely. Needs to happen.
Okay, so
Okay,
out of
so-
the ideas that we've had so far, watercolored
A10
water and
Or water balloons.
powder cannon is the best idea we've had so far. What else do we got?
I just think that the A10 Warthog is too ambitious for you.
You're correct.
Okay, well, as long as we're clear on that.
If you can go rent one, I'll do it.
Man, this is tough because I mean, if I was doing a gen, because cars are such a deep part, I would just do a burnout.
You guys are so basic.
It would be such a good burnout, but that would be like it.
Kate likes the idea of cutting a cake and the cake being dyed whatever color the baby's gonna be.
Basic.
Talk about basic.
Yeah,
Damn.
I told her the same thing. I was like, look, actually, it's not a bad idea.
Like, it's a
per
good
se,
idea.
but it's an issue with visuals. If there's a lot of people and you're cutting into a cake, it's gonna be hard to like present that.
Well, see, what you do is you put it on like a spin top and you like cut it for yourselves because you guys already know. And then you just slowly turn it to reveal it to everyone so that it gives it a moment of suspense.
You know, that might be a little bit outside my budget.
What?
Where the fuck am I gonna find?
I
Those
think
have a
Mom has
name.
one.
What's the name of those? Those have a name.
You know what? I know that you can't do it just because of like budget restrictions and stuff, but a really good like theoretical idea would be to wrap your car whatever like the color that the gender of the baby is gonna be.
And then come drifting around
And
the corner
then-
like, hello,
well,
guys!
Not drifting, but obviously like boom, big reveal. The car is, pink.
Honestly, that is a really fucking good idea.
I'm
But
gonna steal that.
I have to replace my intake manifold, so I'm a
More
little
important
strapped for
things.
cash. I'm actually gonna write
We'll
that
wrap-
down though. I'm writing down all three of those ideas that I've liked so far. Isaac, give us some more ideas, buddy.
You could set up like a bunch of tiki torches, and like you could alternate color. Like you can get some of that special flame powder, that color flame chart. You could set up each of them and alternate color, and then have like a big fire, and like the fire pit in the backyard. You can have the actual color.
Throw a Molotov in it.
That's not such a good.
No. To light the big fire, yeah, you just throw a fucking Molotov into it.
Just with the powder inside, that's actually. Oh, so the watercolor fight's a good idea with balloons or guns. The car wrap is a good idea, albeit expensive.
Would you? So, do you want it to be natural? Do you want it to be choreographed between people?
So I'll tell you what my original idea was for the baby. The original plan was to get a blue lightsaber and a pink lightsaber and choreograph a fight between me and Caden to show the victor and what the baby's gender would be. But the lightsabers wouldn't get here in time.
Yeah,
I already
makes
looked.
sense. Like, it was such a strong. Like, that would have been so cool.
Caden, you had two ideas.
Like, in particularly big fans of Star Wars, though.
Does it matter? It's my fucking baby.
I mean, not like that, but like, I don't know.
Okay, so I have
car.
car wrap, flame changing powder, and a watercolor fight. What was your other idea, Caden? That I said was a good idea. Clearly
I
not
don't
that good
remember.
because I
was-
can't remember it.
I was spitfiring for a second. I don't know.
That is three pretty damn good ideas. I won't lie to you. I'm really
Like it's something
curious as to how much
space
it would
themed.
cost to wrap my car now. Space themed is huge, yeah.
Good wraps cost like, I mean,
Too
you've got to
much.
set out a base of like $2,000 for something that's going to be
Listen,
halfway.
I'll just
decent.
wrap the hood and nothing else.
You could get a model rocket and have a custom smoke trail, I think. As for firing it in city limits, though, I don't know how they would like that.
Yeah, I don't think
Probably
they'd like
not
that
much.
a lot at all, actually. I could do something car related.
Then you have, I don't know, that I feel like if you're gonna do the rap thing, it should be like a full commit kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, but you would also want to get a cover so that there would be like a really big reveal so that no one accidentally sees it.
Obviously, be not there.
Yeah.
The car would have to be somewhere else entirely.
I could drive your car in.
No, you're not special. You
Before-
don't get to know before other people. Nice try. Ooh,
That is a question of who would drive your car in, though.
me probably.
Kate.
Wait, so do you guys already know?
Me and Kate know, yeah.
Oh, what? typically gender reveals are for the parents.
It's
lot of them
also
that
a
I've
baby
seen
shower,
are.
though. It's not like it's both. We're not doing two
Yeah.
separate events.
I mean, yeah, I don't see how that changes things, but yeah.
People want to
Especially-
know. A lot of people are really excited to find out.
I mean, yeah, I'm excited, but yeah, I guess that if you already knew, then so like, what is it?
I'm not fucking telling you.
What's the last four of your social?
You know, I really considered saying that just now. I mean, the last four is like the most common thing that you use, but also,
The last four of my social is.
I'm just gonna
Uh,
mute
should
him
stop
real
talking.
quick.
No, relax. I'm not that stupid. Come on.
Actually, tell me your whole social, and I'll cut it out in editing.
I don't trust you enough to do that.
Let me get your routing number instead.
No. I don't know.
And account number.
I would the brainstorming is storming my brain for sure, but I don't know.
That's fair, I guess. I can't blame you.
Oh, I had said water balloons. If you don't want to do the water guns.
Yeah, I wrote that down. Water balloons and guns.
Oh, okay.
You said something else, I swear. I'll go back to it in editing and be like, oh yeah!
You can do
That's
a
what
really
he
simple
said.
like pinata filled with pink or blue candy, you know, and just like go to town on that thing like you're having a mental breakdown and like make a show out of it.
What if I just have a mental breakdown in front of everybody and then like light my hair on fire and that'll be the color? Also, just don't come back to the party act. I just leave.
You just light your hair on fire and run out the back or run out the back gate.
Go hang out at grandma's house for a while and do nothing else.
We get there and you're playing Warframe.
Nah, brother,
Yeah,
Elden
he'd be
Ring.
playing.
You've been on that Elden Ring
Monster Hunter.
kick. You've been on that Elden Ring kick.
It's so good.
I mean, it's a fucking fantastic game. Truthfully,
I have been genuinely thinking about going back to Elden Ring.
Well, you should. I'll be playing more of it tonight when we're done recording.
I will
Unless
be going
Taylor
to
when I
stays
get
sleep
out of this
because
fucking
I-
cast is Midnight Club for sure.
I have
but
cars and coffee to go to in the morning. I got a lot of shit to do
yeah,
tomorrow.
I got work.
Imagine going
I'll-
to work.
I know.
Like,
It couldn't be
I
you.
get to- And then
No, I also
I'm
work tomorrow.
gonna go have lunch with Garrett tomorrow.
Oh wow, aren't you special?
Yeah. Hey, you could come
Me-
with us if you wanted to.
Yeah, which one of you is paying?
Me, Allie, and Kayla. Probably me and Kayla.
That was a very sarcastic remark between the two of you.
I'm being dead fucking serious, brother.
Where are you going to eat lunch at?
I don't know. We haven't gotten that far in life yet.
So I've already thought about it, and I was gonna ask you tomorrow, but I guess I could just ask you now. You want to go to McAllister's? I fucking love McAllister's, dog. It is my favorite place to eat.
So I've never ever been to McAllister's before.
Is this in?
This is
No.
This is like down the road from where I work,
I
which
couldn't.
I'm not
And-
going to tell you where I work, obviously.
Well, no, there's like 3 or 4 McAllister's. But yeah, like if you're down to go to McAllister's, I would love to. It is my
What-
favorite place. Eh.
What is McAllister's?
Kind of like a sandwich place. But
place.
like they also have soups and salads. Their potato salad is phenomenal. Hold on. I can actually I have the app. I can pull up their menu. And I'll,
We can do that. Well, I'll just figure something out tomorrow for sure.
okay.
Yeah,
But
we
yeah,
can do that.
McAllister's is so good.
Anyway, back to the Elden Ring thing, and this kind of ties into the point that I had brought up in the chat earlier, which was, for anybody curious, it was villains that we think were in the right, or at the
Well,
very
now, hold
least we
on.
can relate to some degree, right?
I didn't
Well, and I
tell
wanna-
you we were going anywhere with that.
Well, no, but I wanted, because you talked about Elden Ring, and I wanted to bring this up because this is something I thought about initially. Does the Frenzied Flame ending technically count as a villain?
About like your character being a villain?
Yeah, like, because I mean,
Okay, well,
It's-
it's in my humble opinion that you're the villain from the very start, so.
Absolutely.
I don't know that. I just how do you figure? How do you figure?
Everyone you meet eventually dies. You kill more than half of the important population of the game to get your own goal. Some lady with a horse who you've never met before now is trying to tell you to kill everybody. You kill everybody, and everything that moves.
be fair, okay? 9 times out of 10, they start the fucking fight.
You
But
literally
you are the one
walk
finishing
up
it.
into their fucking business and they tell you to leave, and you're like, actually, I'll just fight you to the death.
No. Dude, like, let's take, for example, the first major boss fight, Margit, right? That motherfucker shows up and he's like, you're going further. I'm stopping you. I'm putting an end to this. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly, because he knows what's gonna happen if he doesn't.
What? But, like, you can bring in, the Age of Stars, which is considered, I guess, the good ending, right? You can also do various different endings through, yourself just becoming the next Elden Lord, and one of them is like the Age of Gold.
There's still a
Wouldn't
lot
both of those be
of
considered good
murder.
endings?
that happens between here and there.
I
And
mean,
also, the Age of Gold is really like, good, things are still this way.
but regardless, the main goal, at least of the Age of Stars, is to thrust the world into a better situation than it's in when you arrive.
The Age of Stars is where you and Ronnie get rid of the influence of the greater will. You literally just prevent outer gods from influencing the world.
And
That's
is
all
that
it is.
not a good thing?
That is a good thing, but how many innocent
See?
people did you kill to get there?
How many guilty people did I kill to get there, though?
Who's guilty?
Most of the bosses are
Name one guilty boss.
fucking Godfrey, Marika, Radigan. There's 3 off the top of my head alone.
Okay, can
Listen,
you
all of
tell-
those
God
are
damn
No, hold on,
all
hold on,
you
hold on, hold
as
on,
the
hold on.
boss.
What does Godfrey do?
Godfrey married Marika.
And do you know
And-
his backstory?
To a degree. It was a very brief explaining when I watched the video, I'll be real.
Godfrey tried to stop Marika from being an idiot, and Marika was like, "Oh, you and your tarnished can fuck off," and sent them away.
Okay, so Godfrey's a G. Alright, I'll take that back. Apologies, Godfrey. You a homie.
Marika wanted to bring a better age for the people. That was her whole thing. And at first, she thought she was doing that with the help of the Greater Will, and she made the Golden Order. And that was like, oh, that's a great thing. That's a fantastic, But the Golden Order started going a little whack with power, and they're like, oh. And Marika, after finding out the Greater Will's not so great, was like, oh, that's not good. And then shattered the Elden Ring to make sure that that could not continue. And then she was basically crucified because she did that by the outer gods, by the Greater Will himself. Marika's original
No, you're
goal
right,
was
that
to
did
make
happen.
things better. And then she was like, oh shit, the things were better, but now they're corrupt, and I'm going to stop that. And then she was crucified for her actions.
Side note.
And
I
Radigan
really
is
like-
literally the same person.
I really like, yeah. That's weird, though, right? Because she divorced Godfrey and got with Radigan. So fucked Renala, right? That's who Ronnie is the daughter of Renala and Radigan.
Mhm.
But Radigan and Marika are the same person.
Radika and Marika also had children.
And so I think that's the biggest confusion that everybody's having is why that is in terms of like lore issues. Side note, I fucking love the kind of extended bits of lore we got from the Mother of Fingers fight in the DLC. Right?
I
It's
still
been
don't
long
feel
enough.
bad for those
We can
fingers. Fuck those guys.
we can talk about that without like spoiler warnings, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say it's been long enough. Everybody's played it.
We're also not popular enough for it to matter.
But I love that the idea when you read up on the lore and stuff, the lore suggests that the fingers have been corrupted since before Marika even came into power, and that they had been mentally, not all there since like Placidusax was the Elden Lord. Was the idea that the lore brought in. Which, by the way, everybody says Godfrey was the first Elden Lord. It's even in his name, but technically speaking, Placidusax came before it during the Age of Dragons.
He wasn't really an Elden Lord, though. I mean, you could call him the Elden Lord, but he was there before the Erd Tree.
But he served the same purpose and was the same thing as an Elden Lord. He spoke through the fingers to the Greater Will.
And
And
did his bidding, yeah.
The Greater Will went silent. And there's a lot of people theorizing that when you see him, the way he is before you start his fight, you know how he's standing, both of his heads are straight up in the air like that, and he's like in a ball
That's
floating?
because he's talking to the Greater Will, yeah.
Yeah, he's trying to get in contact with the Greater Will, just like the Two Fingers do towards the end of the story in the Round Table Hold.
Well, so
But
he's called an Elden Lord, but it's more like how Radon is the consort to Mikola, how there's one living being that exists to help an outer god. He was like that. He was the consort to the Greater Will. And that's technically what Elden Lord is as well. When Marika is Queen Marika, the Eternal, she's the consort to the Greater Will. And when you become the Elden Lord in just the regular standard ending, you are the consort to the Greater Will. Either way, none of those people were guilty of anything. Yeah, they fucked up, but they were all trying to help. So we're still the bad guy, point blank.
I mean, I see your reasoning a little better now. However, I would like to point out that the Elden Beast is literally God, and that's a bad guy.
That's
For
probably
sure.
the only justified kill in the whole game.
It's not true, dude. This fucking beast clergy man can suck my dick.
They also were just the protectors of Placidusax.
I don't care. They're assholes.
See, you're the bad guy. You are the bad guy.
Okay. But then that brings me back to my original question. What is the bad guy justified in this right?
No.
No.
You're
Not
constantly
even
going
much better.
around killing people for experience to get stronger.
No, you're going around.
You take
killing
out
people
whole
to bring
you
about a
take
new
out whole
age.
civilizations. Okay,
Now,
well think about the
admittedly-
farming spot. Think about the farming spot. You spawn in, you kill
This farming spot is
everything
not lore
there.
accurate.
Yes, it
The
is.
farming spot is not lore accurate.
Farming spot is lore accurate.
No.
You spawn in,
No.
you kill everything. And then you go sit down, have a rest, have a cup of tea. You come back, everyone is right back where they were, and you do it again. That is genocide.
So they deserve it.
In canon, your whole thing is you can't die. You come back. That's like the Dark Souls Elden Ring canon for your character. Everybody has their thing, right? Holy magic or Elden Lord or whatever. In canon, your thing is literally the ability to not die.
Okay, so then we've just universally then agreed that Elden Ring, you are the bad guy, and it's justified.
There is not a single
Yeah.
Souls game that exists where you're not the bad guy.
Okay.
I
so
haven't
then-
played Sekiro, so I can't speak for that one. But for the rest of them,
So then that
Still the
brings
bad
me
guy,
back to
that
the
one.
original question. Who is a villain that you guys think was at the very least justified and at the very most actually in the right with what they did?
do you count Eren Yeager as a bad guy?
I knew you were gonna say that shit. That was one of the first people I thought of, and here's the thing. Yes, he is. And if we're going back to the fucking logic that you guys just used for Elden Ring, he is certifiably and unjustifiably the bad guy because he committed genocide. Straight up. Regardless of the situation, based off your own logic, that makes him the bad guy.
You know?
See? So now, you either have to go through and rethink how you feel about the entire Souls-like series.
No, I really just like arguing that point because it's funny.
So
how about
here's my pick.
the sharks from Sharknado.
See, I don't know that they can be considered bad guys, though, right?
Sharknado.
They were...
The
Okay.
antagonist of the film is a shark tornado, but them sharks didn't ask to do that.
Well, Sharknado is technically a disaster flick.
What about the killer tire?
Can
Robert-
you justify why he
Okay,
did
listen, popular podcasts have already done this one. We can't talk about Robert Rubber.
That? All right, here's my pick. The fucking dude from the Bee Movie who got kicked out of his own house for being allergic to bees. I think that guy, because he's seen as an antagonist in the movie, but he is absolutely and positively justified in every action he takes.
The sports guy who's dating the girl at the beginning.
Yes, who
jock guy.
breaks up with him for a fucking bee.
Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls. Man
Elaborate.
did nothing wrong. Okay, so Powerpuff Girls lore. I bet you never expected this to come from me.
No, I did.
Mojo
but-
Jojo is the monkey guy who's like the main antagonist of the series.
Yeah.
He was created by the professor because he was a lab assistant, and the professor spilled Chemical X on him. But he stuck around and was fine until the professor created the Powerpuff Girls and neglected Mojo and left him, like, just abandoned him. So,
And then that's when.
I
Sorry,
mean,
go ahead.
he's pretty. Obviously, he hates the Powerpuff Girls for that reason, which is never really. I don't know if it's explicitly explained or not. He definitely went a little bit of crazy with power. Because I think the professor at some point was like, hey, come back, we miss you. And Mojo was like, oh, well, you left me, so fuck you, and tricked him into giving him powers like the Powerpuff Girls. Still kind of went kind of crazy. But his whole goal wasn't evil. He wanted to bring free energy and, like, super new technology to the people of the world. And the
Okay.
Powerpuff Girls always stopped him because they thought he was doing something super evil.
Yeah, no, that's valid. I actually, yeah.
I think there's one episode where he actually wins and, like, takes over the city that they're in. But when he does, he, like, cures cancer, fixes global warming, creates world peace, jails the professor for violating, like, human rights and shit.
Yeah, for,
No,
committing the ultimate sin.
He straight up was just a monkey that was neglected by a mad scientist and wanted the world to be a better place.
Oh man, I just thought of one. Oh yeah. So my next pick, Dr. Doofenshmirtz. I don't think. Not only do I think he was in the right most of the time, but I don't think he was really a bad guy like at all. I think the dude was just fucking annoyed with how often he was discarded in normal society or ignored or he was inconvenienced for the convenience of others, and wanted to change that. Throughout most of the series, that's what like most of his innators, or just things that would inconvenience others for his own convenience, the way that he had been inconvenienced. Also, he has like the most tragic fucking past of like any fucking scientist villain.
Wanda.
Wanda,
All she wanted, all she wanted was her kids.
Okay.
So what if she was a little unstable?
Okay, I don't know if you've
No.
caught up with what she's done.
No.
Enslaving an entire town
with the
her
town.
magic.
Yeah. Okay, listen.
Jeez. No,
Listen, I do know about that. It might have slipped my mind. I did forget about it.
Jumping through the multiverse and murdering other people who get in her way, end quote. Just to steal somebody else's kids because they look like hers that she dreamt up once.
She made Black Bolt blow his own brain through his skull. She cut off Agent Carter's head with her own shield. And I believe she crushed somebody else under like multiple tons of rock. And
She liquefied the smartest man in the world. They literally, like, 4 people died almost instantly because she was chasing one guy who didn't want her to ruin other people's lives.
While we're on that subject, by the way, I would like to point out that there's a very distinct issue whenever every single character you make. Marvel has this problem with a lot of the characters. Is that like every single character is like the most powerful fucking character in their own rights. Like Scarlet Witch, Doctor Doom, Ghost Rider, Deadpool, Wolverine, you name it, bro. Every single one of these people has at one point or another been the most terrifying and fearsome character in the Marvel universe, cinematic or comic or otherwise. And it becomes an issue whenever you put them up against, lesser known characters. And it's just like, the fight was pretty much instantly over. And it kind of made for a more or less shitty scene. I think it was neat, but I think that the power imbalance between their popular characters and their unpopular characters is something to be awed at.
That's fair.
Okay, listen. I cheated because I was having a hard time with it, but I found this post that makes a pretty compelling statement.
Bro, there's
Severus
nothing
Snape.
wrong with looking stuff up. I do not care.
Cool.
Like, you don't have to come up with shit just off the top of your head.
Cool. Severus Snape from Harry Potter. everything that he did was motivated by the love that he had for Lily,
Yes,
which in
the
turn the love that he had for Harry.
The creepy love, because he was not the person
Yeah!
who married her.
Yeah. Yeah.
He stalkered the
He was a
shit out of
stalker.
her.
I'm not a Harry Potter person.
But
I
did
know.
give him her time, and then was like, "Oh, never mind. I'm gonna go after the Potter."
Beyond that, though, in Deathly Hollows, he literally could have helped the school and like not been a piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was pretty useless up in that whole point, because he still sided with Voldemort and let all that shit happen. You never actually see him fighting, and then he just gets killed by Nagini, or whatever the fucking snake's name is. No, I don't think Snape is justified. He definitely was a two-sided spy the whole time, but even after Dumbledore was dead, he was still a bitch. And no respect for the dead, I guess.
I don't like where my mind went the moment this question was posed.
How about Mr. Wilson from Dennis the Menace? He was justified.
We've already crushed the Eren Yeager thing, because that was because we started talking about Elden Ring, and they made a point to clarify that our main character is always the bad guy, and pointed out the fact that canonically we genocide a whole race of people to level up. And then Sully asked almost immediately afterward about Eren Yeager.
Anyway,
Amazing.
do you have any villains, Landon, that are completely justified in their own right?
Let me think.
I had
Me just-
one more that I thought of.
Let's hear that, and I'll try to think on
Go ahead,
something.
Isaac.
The Sandman from Spooderman.
I don't
Elaborate.
disagree, but also I think he was pretty justified in the newer Spider-Man movie, where it's like,
I
hey,
haven't seen
I'm
that
actually
yet.
not a bad guy. I just want to protect my child. That's pretty.
Well, yeah, but he also was a serial robber, like a serial.
He
What's
did
the
it for
word?
his kid, man. He was doing it. If you had a kid, wouldn't you not? Women sell their bodies and men kill people to take care of their children. Wouldn't you do the same?
I just feel like, I mean, I would do if I had a kid. Obviously, and it's out of the question. I would do anything, of course. But when you get into like murdering a bunch of people, I mean, how many times can you justify it by saying it was for my kid before it becomes a thing of, okay, you're just using your kid to, get sympathy out of people who otherwise would have no.
What about Dracula from Castlevania? The
Dracula-
church killed his wife.
So that I don't think Dracula was ever technically considered a villain, like in the original story. I think he was considered always like, because he gave them a warning, like a week or it was like what was it? Because I know he gave them a set amount of time to get the fuck out of Dodge, and
It
then
was
he
an
was coming back
extensive
to
amount of
burn.
time.
Yeah, it was like a year or something, wasn't it? Like he gave them. I don't remember what it was, but he gave them a specific set amount of time to get the fuck out of Dodge, and then he was coming back to burn everything to the ground. So like everybody had a chance to leave.
Well,
And
see,
instead,
again, like,
they-
I'm pulling from Google, and so I don't know, like, a lot of backstories to a lot of things.
The one that
Um,
I had, and this is like the end-all be-all of wow, you're fucked up for no reason. It's a classic tale. It's one
Okay.
literally as old as TV and telling stories itself. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You mean to tell me this blonde little shit strolled into my room, destroyed my fucking porridge, and slept in my bed, and I'm the bad guy for chasing her down in my own home? Those three bears did nothing wrong.
Those bears, they should have eaten that bitch. In all honesty,
They really should
I'm
have.
pretty sure the canon story for that is yeah, it did happen, but children's books make it to not be so fucked up.
a genuine turn she got with a light sentence, bro.
any knights that went after Robin Hood, they were just doing their job.
They were
going
They
after
were
someone
just doing
stealing.
their job. Although Robin Hood is more justified than they are.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. But
I don't even.
for the sake
you
of
can't
this
count it as
talking
the
point,
knights, though. You can't count it as the knights because the Round Table was on Robin Hood's side. He was the good guy, and they knew it. But the corrupt politicians were the
You
bad
should
guys,
say.
and they're not
Yeah.
justified.
I've got,
But-
I think this is in the same topic, villains that you just can't hold anything against them. I think Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah,
If I
brought it up.
brought that
Oh, you already brought up?
I mentioned Mr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz earlier. Nobody said anything, by the way. Two were against my point, but I did mention.
He
No, I
doesn't
agree.
cause any harm,
He tries, though.
really.
He wants to take over, although it's more like the Mojo Jojo situation, where he probably really wouldn't be a bad dictator. He just
Yeah,
wants
I
to put
If-
it in the face of his brother, technically.
If
He
you
literally was
watched-
shooting down corrupt politicians, pretty much.
If you watch the cult classic Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension, you'll actually come into a very fascinating thing where whenever they go to the alternate dimension, Heinz is in control. And Heinz is a fucking heinous, like, tyrannical
Yeah,
dictator.
but that's
in
the
this
alternate
one.
But-
dimension, though.
The,
Yeah, no.
the
But I'm bringing
actual-
this up because our
Okay.
boy, Mr. Doofenshmirtz, figures out why, not only why, he went crazy, which was because he lost a toy train as a kid. But that's it. And Heinz was like, "That's all you went through? Like, my parents didn't show up for my birthday. I had to be a guardian them for years. I had one friend as a kid. His name was Balloon, and he floated away." But he eventually stands against our evil tyrannical dictator Doofenshmirtz. And I don't think he's really hailed as a hero, but he's hailed as a villain by the end of that. So, I mean, our boy, he is our boy.
he did get a bit of a comeback. Do you guys know what is essentially a sequel to it, Milo Murphy's Law?
Yeah. Murphy's Law.
He shows up in that and gets his whole like character development arc.
Does he show up in Milo Murphy's
Yeah,
Law?
no, he
Actually?
gets a whole arc where he crashes in their house. He lives with he lives with their family and is just a complete asshole. He doesn't do anything, makes a mess of the house. And he has this character development arc where he tries to improve himself, but he sucks. But he tries.
listen, if we're talking about character development, Zuko.
Oh yes.
He was never a bad
Oh
guy.
yeah.
That one doesn't
Who
count.
He
is
was.
Zuko?
The Firebender from
What?
Avatar.
That's right. Good lord, dude. My memory, bro. Zuko was
only
the bad
forgive
guy.
you this
He's
once.
very
He-
clearly the bad guy in the
Yes.
first couple
Yes,
of seasons.
He was the bad guy, but the character development, my
I mean,
God.
He was doing what he
That-
was
that-
told to prove to his psychotic family. He never
well,
wanted
he
to.
was also he was doing it outside of that as well too, though, because he got outcasted and still was hell bent on
He wanted to
getting
prove
the
that
Avatar.
he could be
Yes,
as good as his family. That's the
Right,
whole point.
Yes, and he
His
wanted to be
animals.
accepted back because he was shunned from his family.
Because he was
I-
a good guy.
It's justified, but I still think he's the bad guy in that situation. He was
Well, yeah,
still
we're
doing
talking
some
about
pretty.
justified bad guys.
I just don't. I think he wasn't right.
There was a whole
Lis-
point where he almost
listen.
died because he did something nice.
I said on the topic of character development.
I think, but I mean, when you get into that show, though, it's so hard to bring up that show because I mean, at this rate, it's just like you bring up The Last Airbender, and everybody's like, "We know the show is fucking incredible. Move on." It's, I mean, the whole thing has been beaten to death over and over and over again countless times because it is so fucking good. At just the storytelling, the character building, the world building, every single piece of that show is fucking phenomenal.
All right. Well, we've discussed many things on
I
the
think
we've
very
got 20
first
minutes past schedule.
episode. The official name of our podcast, for now at least, unless Logan can come up with something better, is Road Closed, the podcast.
Road closed.
Road
That one, that
Closed.
was it. Pulled the W on that one. I'm glad I got
Good
to name the.
Gender reveal ideas. The watercolor fight is really smart. I probably can't afford the car wrap, but I still like the idea. And then
Yeah, those are a few thousand.
the flame changing powder. I actually used to have a lot of that, and I got rid of it because it expires. But it was still a good idea. And of course, villains in the right. Most villains are in the right, like 90% of the time. It's just, I don't. It's a pretty good quote. It's like, the villains are right, their methods are not. That's the issue.
That's typically the issue, yeah.
Anyway, I think this is where we're gonna wrap up the very first episode of Road Closed, the podcast. It was good. I'm pretty excited for this. Honestly, I'm ready to see where this goes. Obviously, we're new to this, so cut us some slack. People who
We'll get
listen to
better
this for
as
the
time
first
goes
time
on.
ever. This is Road Closed. I'm Sully, Garrett, Caden, Landon, Isaac. I'll see you guys next time.
See ya.
And then,
See
See ya.
ya.
bye.